Hey everyone, welcome back to the next chapter. My name is Christopher Navo, and I'm going to be your host. If this is your first time joining, thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the content. Today's video is another weekly wrap up. Now, I'm a couple days late on this wrap up, and I do apologize. I didn't even get a wrap up video out the week prior. Just some personal stuff that came up last minute that totally kind of expected, but not so soon. So I'm dealing with a lot of that. Plus, I'm working on some work certification and training right now. So a lot of that is kind of taking a lot of my time to record and get content out to you. So I do apologize, but I do plan to make sure I have at least that one day set aside to where I can film and present new material for you all. So let's get started. Sometimes it was easier to let your mind go quiet, to let the sound of voices, the cold air, and the ache of the bruises overpower the feelings within. So the first book I want to talk about that I read was The Bloodstones by Tori Tecken. This is book one of the Legends of Brujai. This was a book I read not last week, but the week prior. This was an advanced reader's copy edition that I had. And it released on November 28th, so not too long ago. This book, I did put out a Goodreads review for it already, and I did rate it 5 stars. I think technically it would have been a 4.75. Goodreads, as you know, it's 1 full star or nothing. So I went with the full 5 stars. And, honestly, in the end, I do think she deserves all 5 stars for this book. Everything about this book just hit kind of in the right areas for me. Her development of character, the world she's created, the magic system, the complex history that she's given to this world, and just the themes, all are things that I liked, and all are things that just really hit you in an emotional sense as well as an entertaining sense. To start off with, her characters are the driving force of this book. We follow 2 primary characters, and they introduce you to this world that Tori's created. The world itself, it's just layers of history and lore, intriguing politics, and then this like old type of magic with runes and just all put together. There's these you have the tribal cultures of one country, you have the turmoil of another, and she uses these almost like real world influences and makes them entirely her own. And this is presented throughout the book in characters, and not through exposition. Tori is very good with diving into themes when it deals with family and grief and just like mental illness. And these were made these characters so engaging. All these characters, they're just as compelling and fun to follow. And I think you want to see more of these characters. This is all presented to us in this very structured prose that Tori presents really well. There's a balance of beautifully detailed to leaving it up to our imagination to fill in the rest, which I greatly appreciate. And it's tough to have to balance those 2 things. So I'm really excited to continue on with this series of The Legend of Brujai. She has a very solid start here, and I highly recommend you guys check out this book. This, again, will be probably in my top 10 reads for 2023. He had a vision of a nation. The incredible martial skills of the Mongol tribes have always been wasted against each other. From nothing, surrounded by enemies, Temujin rose to unite them all. What came next would shake the world. So the other book I read, and this was last week, was Genghis, Birth of an Empire by Con Ingleton. This is book 1 of the Conqueror series. I believe there is 5 to this series. Guys, I gotta say, this was another 5-star read for me easily. And probably another in my top 10 reads of 2023. So two right off back to bat was that's why we read when you get weeks like this, because this book just I couldn't put it down. I think I finished it in maybe 3-4 days. Now not a long book to begin with, but I'm not the fastest reader, as you guys know. So for me to finish a book in just that time period is saying something. Oh wow, I was just so impressed. I've read Ingleton before, so I knew I was going to be okay with the way the material was presented. Now, I'm not too familiar with the Mongolian culture. A lot of my archaeology and history studies, we never really delved into that region of the world. So this is all kind of brand new information to me, whether it's historically accurate. I mean, it is fiction, of course, but whether what is talked about in this book is with historical realism, I don't know. But he sure presents it in a realistic way, and very entertaining way. This reads like a fantasy, and this is why historical fiction and fantasy just go hand in hand. You could feel like you're reading a fantasy here. Of course, it doesn't have like the fantastical, like magical elements to it, but a lot of adventure, a lot of political intrigue, the drama, all the of that time period is just presented here. Now, of course, we're following a very, in the first book, we are following a very young Temujin. This is on his journey to becoming a man. It's a lot of focus on proving himself at this early age. They put a lot of emphasis on showing signs of strength when you're young, and you're the son of a Khan and you need to prove yourself. And this is shown through the way he acts with his brothers, and the way he acts with his father. Temujin is a hothead, and because of that, it causes him some problems and some grief. The world, of course, is set in our real world during that time period in Mongolia, and it's well constructed. The prose, very, very approachable, guys. Very straightforward, and nothing too complex, and where you need to really focus on the words you're reading. And that's great. When you're reading something like this, you don't want it to read too textbooky. You want it to be immersive because it is a historical fiction, not an actual history book. So I appreciate that. Again, just always amazed on how well Ingleton writes historical fiction, and it just goes to show, for how passionate I am about this book, about a time period that I'm not familiar with, just tells me I need to read more, and I'm going to. I'm hoping in December or early January, I am going to continue on with this series, hands down, no question. I'm not going to even wait like a couple months like I do with a couple of my series. I'm going right into it, guys, and I'm going to hit Lords of the Bow sometime either maybe late December or very early in January, but definitely excited to continue on with the series. So besides the Bloodstones and Genghis, I've also started reading some of the short stories to the anthology collection, The Advent of Winter. This is all compiled into what was a Kickstarter by booktuber Dominish Books, and the ebooks are released now for each day of December, acting as kind of like an advent calendar. So essentially it's kind of like the idea of reading one of these short stories each day. This is not really taken away from my current reads, as these reads are only like 15 to 20 minutes in length, at least reading wise. And again, this is me as a slow reader, and I usually take that much time. And yeah, it's just a focus on the winter theme. And I want to emphasize it's more of the winter theme and not really a Christmas holiday theme, because at least from the first three that I've read as of this recording, there's nothing cheerful or really cozy about these stories. They are pretty heavy in themes of survival and coming of age and sacrifice. And each of those were at least present in the first three books I read, or the stories I read. The Patch Skin Woman by Cal Black, Right of the Tundra by Jim Wilborn, and then Innocent Lost by H.C. Newell. And all three of these were just left like this heavy note of me just having to sit back and think about what I read. And definitely that mood, that darkness of winter, and feeling cold and the isolation of the winter season is just very present in at least these first three. I imagine it's going to continue on throughout the season. I maybe there's a cozy light read in here somewhere. I don't know, but I'll let you guys know. I'll keep up with how the advent of the advent of winter is going for me. This again was a Kickstarter. The physical book comes out sometime in 2024, and I believe there will be, if you didn't take part in the Kickstarter, I believe there will be books available at some point. My recommendation is go look up booktuber Dominish Books and subscribe to his channel if you haven't, and maybe he will give you some updates as to when that will be available to purchase. So as to what I'm currently reading, yes, I am still continuing on with Memories of Ice by Steven Erikson, book 3 of the Malazan Book of the Fallen. I got a couple more chapters in with this book, and I'm really the one thing I will say is I'm really happy to see some returning characters, some especially from book 1, that I felt like you want to know what happened to especially one certain character, and to see that character's return is just really cool, just really refreshing, and gives you a little more insight as to especially what happens in Gardens of the Moon. And if you had some questions when you were done with reading that book, and you kind of get a few answers to that in some of these early chapters with these returning characters. And again, this is one of those things where I think when people get worried when they read, like, say they read Gardens of the Moon and even make it up to like Dead House Gates, and there's so many questions people have, and I think it's just a show that you have to just be patient, because Erikson will answer some of those questions for you, and I feel like I'm getting a little more clarity even as early as I am in Memories of Ice. So yeah, this one's really already pulling me in, and seeing returning characters and that I want to know what they're up to. It's just been really fun. It's been a great read, and yeah, it's going to be a heavy push into December for me with this. So as to what I have coming up this week and into the following week, I mentioned a few weeks ago, I wanted to cut back on the amount of fantasy I've been reading. I will, of course, still be reading Memories of Ice, and I will be reading the daily short stories from the Advent of Winter anthology. So I wanted to make sure anything else I read for the week was maybe of a different genre, because it worked really well reading the historical fiction of Genghis, Birth of an Empire last week, and I want to continue that. So for the next few weeks, I will be adding some sci-fi reads to my week. And the first one I have planned is The Forsaken Planet by Bryan Wilson. This is book 1 of Power of the Stars. I initially had this planned to read way back in, I believe, late August or September. Unfortunately, that also was the time when I burned myself out and I wasn't reading a lot. Therefore, I wasn't making a lot of YouTube content. So, you know, guys, I was making these large TBRs at that time of like 8 or 9 books, and I don't read that much in a month. You guys know, I've repeatedly said that I'm not the fastest reader. So, I want to go back. I was going back to those old TBRs of that time period and pick up these books and get back to them. The author was gracious enough to send me the ARC. I reached out to him and I told him, hey, I was on a break, and I wanted to make sure when I read your book, I was in the right mood. Now I'm in the right mood. I'm really excited to dig into some of these books from that old TBR, and The Forsaken Planet is going to be the first of that. When mysterious aircraft wreak havoc across Earth's skies, it is revealed that there are clusters of other planets where humankind resides. Distant worlds where the people yield the power of the stars themselves. It is an energy force that can bring about miracles, or, as the alien fleet's ruthless leader displays, unleash horrors beyond imagination. After experiencing a loss during the onslaught, Colton Sampson, an ordinary college student, vows to protect his loved ones at any cost. But to learn the power to do so, he must enlist into the army of the Universal Throne, a second alien force with its own agenda. With the revelation of a secret prophecy foretelling humanity's demise and Colton's improbable role in preventing it, he embarks alongside a diverse group of friends to the throne's capital, the planet of Ventara. There he faces prejudice from supposed allies, lifelike combat simulations that test him to his core, and the looming threat of a universal war. Only by embracing his true potential can Colton hope to secure the safety he seeks in a universe that views him as nothing more than forsaken. Just a real quick note here regarding Bryan Wilson. He will be releasing the cover to book 2 of Power of the Stars in the next few days here this week. This is all I can show you guys for now, but I will have links to his website as well as to his Twitter, and he is going to announce the full cover of book 2, so definitely check it out. And to give you a real brief preview of what I plan to read after The Forsaken Planet, I'm continuing on with the Sun Eater series by Christopher Rocchio. This is book 2, Hallowing Dark. I read Empire of Silence back in July. Absolutely loved it. Couldn't put it down. And I'm ready to continue on with the series. There's a couple of other booktubers that are also reading it around the same time I am, so it should make for a fun discussion. I'm just, again, ready into that mood to continue. So I will give you more updates as they come in future weeks. And finally, myself and Laura from Fantasy Awash will be restarting up our One Piece Netflix discussions coming up here again December 10th. We have started adding guests to our panels, which has been a lot of fun, getting some more opinions beside our own. We do have a couple more openings for some guests on our show. If you are interested, let me know. You can leave a comment or you can reach me on Discord. For those shows that fall on December 24th and New Year's Eve, we will probably reschedule those for another day. Otherwise, we expect those shows to continue on Sundays. So stay tuned for those alerts when those live shows happen. Well, that's it for me today, guys. I will have links to Tori Tecken and Bryan Wilson, where you can follow them, where you can purchase their books and their websites, linked in the description below. Please support your self-pub and indie authors. My name is Christopher Navo. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And I hope to see you in the next chapter. Take care. So to start off with what I... there it goes. Flip up, bo ba doo boo. Let's get your form your words. You got to form your words. Deal with any of that shit. So, and that book, guys, was Conning. And what we liked about this book was the fact that why am I saying we? What am I, Gollum?
We likes the book, The Bloodstone's Precious. Yes, we do.